إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ به تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله الله بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة ما يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعص الله ورسوله فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا ما بعد معاشر المسلمين أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله عز وجل فإن يقول بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. Now in this khutbah I want to start with something that hit me in the news this morning, and then we will go on to some of the things which you already are aware of and our plans for the next couple of days. So as for what hit me in the news this morning, in the front page of the GTA section of the Toronto Star, there is a story of a young man. He's somewhere in his early 30s. Not long ago, he moved to Canada from Egypt. And he is the subject of this front page article. It so happens that a Jewish person, or we should say a person with a Jewish name, reported that he lost his jacket. He went to his car and he realized that he had left his jacket and his coat in the car, and it was an expensive coat. And then not only did he lose the coat because somebody broke into his car, but the coat contained his wallet with all of his credit cards and all of that. So on his way to work that morning, he was just busy calling and trying to cancel this credit card and that credit card. Eventually, it turns out that the young man in question, the Egyptian, actually had come into possession of the coat in an unusual circumstance. He works in a restaurant, and somebody came into the restaurant and said, "Look, I'm homeless. Somebody just gave me this coat. I'll sell it to you for whatever you can give me." So he gave him $10 for the coat, and this guy left, and he's got the coat. But when he checked the coat pocket, he realized this has got somebody's wallet. So he tried to find this person, this David Cohen. And he went to the place where this David Cohen used to live, because that's the address that is still on his driver's license. He didn't find him there. Then he looked on Facebook for this David Cohen, and he found the David Cohen and eventually contacted him, and David Cohen eventually retrieved his coat with his wallet and some money that was there inside as well. So he tried to give the cash from that wallet to this Muslim brother who had found the coat, and the brother said, "No, that is my religion. I cannot take any thing from this. It's not prohibited, but that's how he felt, and he wanted to make this very clear that he's just returning this as somebody else's property that came into his possession. They said, "Okay, at least we'll pay you the $10 that you paid to buy the coat." And he accepted the $10. But any more than this, he would not accept. They offered this man and his wife, they offered to buy him, they bought him a Tim Hortons card so that he can go to Tim Hortons and enjoy himself. He wouldn't take the card. He insisted, "No, you're not going to leave without this card. You must take the card away. I'm not going to take this." Now, he just a week ago started working with a Syrian restaurant somewhere in St. Clair Avenue. So you can see that this is a young man, newly arrived in Canada. He obviously would need money. He just started a job, so we don't know the rest of his financial circumstances. But his Muslim principles are such that he wouldn't keep a piece of property which he knows to obviously belong to somebody else and came into his hands not by legitimate means. He paid for it, but now he knows that this is stolen property. What does he do with it? As a Muslim, he returns it. Now, if he was given a reward as he was, as I understand, there's nothing wrong with him accepting a reward that was freely given by the owner. But he wanted to make his matter so clear with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he didn't even want to accept the reward. He insisted, as a Muslim, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is your property, I return it. Now that became news, and front page news in the GTA section. Imagine if every Muslim was like this. Imagine if the random acts of kindness of Muslims would be reported again and again. How that will change the way in which people think about Islam and Muslims. Now this man said he had never tried Syrian food before, but now he wanted to go and try this Syrian food. So he went to the restaurant and he loves it. And he will keep going again and again. So they'll want to try Syrian food and Lebanese food. And I don't know if there's an Egyptian cuisine. But they'll want to try everything Muslim. Because now suddenly the face of Islam that they have seen is different. I don't know if I remember the name of the young man correctly. I think his name is Wa'il Wahba. And what an appropriate name that he is given. He is Wahba. A gift. He himself is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a gift to this ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him and continue to guide him and use him as a light, as a beacon of what it means to be a Muslim, especially in our troubling modern times. And now, with that news item behind us, I want to go to what we all are aware of. You all are aware that last Saturday, a gunman went into a Pittsburgh synagogue and killed 11 of the persons there. They were only there at a baby naming ceremony. They're not there to harm anybody. So why would anyone have in mind to go and harm these people? Now this reminds us of the Quebec shooting last year. A similar situation. Muslims are there praying in their mosques, not harming anybody, but somebody has this crazy mind thinking that they can come in and kill people. In this particular case, this guy was reported to be saying, I just want to kill Jews. And apparently he wants to kill as many as possible. Eventually he was in a shootout with the police. He injured 2 police officers. He himself was injured. And when he was brought into court yesterday to make his plea, he pleaded not guilty. But we know what has happened. There are real lives lost. And the ironic thing is that the synagogue is named the Tree of Life Synagogue. So in that Tree of Life, life has been taken in such a senseless and horrendous act. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve us in these present times of danger. Because now we are aware that the danger could actually come back to us again. Just like it happened in the Quebec mosque. Because I could not have imagined that somebody would think to harm the Jewish people in the United States of America like this. When they harm Muslims, I have the idea, okay, there are a lot of people out there, they've heard a lot of negative propaganda against Islam, they've heard from the Islamophobes, they have made up their minds that Muslims are evil people, and somehow something clicked and they're thinking, okay, now I've got to go kill some Muslims. I could understand that. But the Jewish people in America, why would you want to go into a synagogue and kill those people? They're not harming anybody. So what this proves, though, is that there are some people out there who are so sick that they're unpredictable. We can't imagine what evils are going on in the minds of people out there. But we know that there is a shaitan. And we ourselves, as Muslims, we have to be aware of the whisperings of the shaitan. And the shaitan may actually whisper even to some Muslims. And sometimes put before you something in the guise of good. Say, okay, you're doing something good right now. Just about 2 hours ago, A report was mentioned on CBC, and I only saw this on the website, showing that a group of Coptic Christians were attacked in a bus in Egypt. 7 died. No one has claimed responsibility the last time I checked, but some fingers are already pointing to some entities that were known in the past to have had something to do with acts like this. But I want to say to Muslims that wherever you are, people have to be safe around you. If people are in Egypt, they should be safe. If they're in Saudi Arabia, they should be safe. If they're here in Canada among Muslims, they should be safe. The Quran tells us in Surah At-Tawbah that if one of the polytheists should seek refuge with you, فَأَجِرْهُ, grant him refuge, حَتَّى يَسْمَعَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ, so that he may hear the word of Allah, ثُمَّ أَبْلِغْهُ مَأْمَنَهُ, then make sure he reaches his place of safety. أَبْلِغْهُ, transport him. Cause him to reach his place of safety, wherever that place is. Make sure that he reaches his place of safety. That's your ultimate responsibility when somebody is there among you. So Coptic Christians are there. It's the responsibility of Muslims around them to protect them. Mustafa Sibai wrote a book entitled Islamic Civilization. And in that book he tells a story about Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. The Moors had captured some Muslims and some Dhimmis also. Those protected minorities that were living among Muslims. And when Al-Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah negotiated with them for the release of the prisoners, they said, we'll release the Muslims, but we'll keep the non-Muslims. But Ibn Taymiyyah said, no, there is no deal until you release them all. He was not going to make a deal only to secure the release of the Muslims. He wanted to make sure that even those protected minorities among Muslims should be released as well. The Ahlul Dhimma, they're called this way because they have taken a covenant with the Muslims. This is an agreement that they will have our protection as they live among us. So we have to protect them, whether they be Jew or Christian or anyone else. So reflecting on what has happened over the last week, I was called to another masjid a few nights ago, and that was a meeting of many imams and community leaders. It was unanimously decided in that meeting that we Muslims will stand united with our Jewish friends this coming Saturday. That we will form human rings of peace around the synagogues to give a symbolic message to any would-be attacker that we are here to protect the Jewish people as they worship. So to get to them, you have to get through us first. Let me remind you that this idea of the Ring of Peace first started in Europe, when some Muslims took the initiative to protect a synagogue there. And that idea of the Ring of Peace multiplied, so that after the Quebec shooting, there were people from among the Jewish community and from the Christian community, men, women, and even Jewish children with their skull caps. They stood outside here on a Friday, soon after the Quebec shooting, in order to give that same message, to say that we are here to protect the Muslims. One night after the Quebec shooting, we held a vigil right here. This entire hall was packed. It was a snowy day, I remember. This was like in early February, or maybe the last day of January. And we couldn't control the amount of water that was coming off the booths outside. I see Sister Shamima nodding her head. They know this experience. Because those who are close to this organization, they were there as foot soldiers, trying to clean up, trying to pack up, trying to arrange the shoes. We didn't have enough place for the shoes. People were standing, packed like sardines in this hall. Mostly non-Muslims. They had come to show their solidarity with the Muslims. Said, we will stand with Muslims united. We cannot stand for hate. Rather, we stand for love. And our love is stronger than hate. And we're here to prove it. So 3 busloads of Muslims will go tomorrow from the Imdadul Jamaat Masjid at Kiel and Finch approximately. Muslims will go also from the Tariq Mosque and from the International Muslim Organization in Rexdale, and from Sheikh Hamid Slimi's Sayyidah Khadija Center in Mississauga, and several other mosques and locations. Among the people who stood outside after the Quebec shooting are representatives of a synagogue that operates nearby out of a Christian church. They're called Sidi Shul. The Christian church is located at 300 Bloor Street West. We have taken responsibility from this center to take our representatives there and stand in solidarity in that ring of peace. So I'd encourage all of you to do that tomorrow for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take signs that show your solidarity with the Jewish people at this time. We're not concerned for the moment about the politics of the Middle East. We're not concerned for the moment about any disagreements or misunderstandings that are there between the two communities. We are concerned for the moment with the fact that they have suffered a terrible loss. They are in grief and they are in fear, not knowing if somebody may actually want to go and attack the next synagogue. When they see people coming with goodwill and in good spirit, as you will do tomorrow, that will give them comfort. And that is the Muslim thing for you to do. I'll never forget the fact that after 9/11, 2001, some non-Muslims called us here to express their sympathy with us in this time of fear. Notice what had happened. Some Muslims attacked the Twin Towers on 9/11. People were calling us here to tell us that they know that we must be afraid at the moment. And that's okay. They're there to stand with us. This one caller I'll never forget who said, if any of your people are afraid to go out and get their groceries, I will go and get their groceries for them. You see, these are people of understanding. They know what a community could be going through at a particular moment. Yes, because some people with Muslim names bombed the Twin Towers, some idiots out there will be coming after every person with a Muslim name. And some people recognize that. You're not guilty. You didn't do anything wrong. But somebody may come to harm you because of what one of your fellow Muslims have done. And here we have people in Canada who are saying, we understand that. You didn't do anything wrong. You shouldn't have to live in fear. And if it so happens that you're afraid, we're here to stand by you. And if you can't go out to get your groceries yourself because you're afraid, don't worry. We'll go and buy it for you. Of course, he didn't say he will pay for it himself. But you see the spirit. What else can you ask of a person in that situation? So we ourselves need to reciprocate. And more than just reciprocate. It's not because they have done something good for us that we're now going to do something good for them. Yes, that's a reason too, but that's not the only reason. And that shouldn't be the main reason. The main reason should be because we are Muslims. And that's what we do. We care for humanity. We care for our fellow citizens. We care for Bani Adam. we care for the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam. If we had more time, I would recount from the Quran a perspective that we seldom hear about the people of the book. There has been a lot of wrangling between Isa alayhi salam and the people of the book before him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us very clearly that those who believed in Isa alayhi salam were also from Bani Israel. فَآمَنَتْ طَائِفَةٌ مِّن بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ وَكَفَرَتْ طَائِفَةٌ. A group from among the Bani Israel believed in him, and a group disbelieved. One group believed, the other group. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this in Surah Al-Ma'idah. The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had entrusted to the prophets and the priests and the rabbis the protection and the safeguarding of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In speaking about the previous nations, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that His intention is to guide us to the sunan of those who were there before us. Surah An-Nisa. So there was some sunan, there were some practices among the people there before us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends to guide us to the practices of those people. So it is reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to follow the practices of the Bani Israel unless he got a specific revelation from Allah to the contrary. Because the presumption was naturally that these people are assiduously following the teachings of the previous prophets. So by following them, on the surface, the presumption is that you are following the previous prophets. Unless he got a specific revelation to the contrary from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Al-An'am, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after mentioning the Prophet, says, فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِهِ. And by their guidance, you should be guided. You should stick to their guidance. Now the Mufassirun want to ask and want to answer, who are these people that are mentioned here? Who are those people? Some disbelieved, yes, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted, He said, the kitab and the hukma and the hukum to some previous people. Who are those people? At-Tabari rahimahullah, after evaluating the various suggestions, concludes that those were the previous prophets who were mentioned. But then, take it a step further. Who has got the record of the teachings of those previous prophets? It is the Bani Israel. So we have much to be appreciative of the Bani Israel. The whole idea of one God. I don't have time, I have to wrap it up very quickly. This is something that they have emphasized and they have preserved. In the face of so many other competing ideas. In the axial age, about 600 years before Isa alayhi salam, many religions were born. Many of them are polytheistic religions as they are known to us today. But around that same period of time, the scribes were writing the Torah and the rest of the Old Testament. And in that Torah and the rest of the Old Testament, they preserved the idea and emphasized the idea that there is only one God. So that means for hundreds of years, those who carried the beacon of the Islamic truth of monotheism, of Tawheed, are these very people. So there were wranglings in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, because people disbelieved in the Prophet ﷺ. So all those who disbelieved were condemned in the Quran. But it doesn't mean that all of their generations forever are condemned. And it doesn't mean that all of the people of a particular group disbelieved. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Ali Imran, لَيْسُوا سَوَاءً. They're not all the same. مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ أُمَّةٌ قَائِمَةٌ يَتْلُونَ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَهُمْ يَسْجُدُونَ. Among the people of the book are those who read the verses of Allah by night and they prostrate. He's talking about the people of the book in general, but in the context, this is referring to the Bani Israel. They're not all the same. So if some Muslim says, oh, those people, you're generalizing. That is a logical fallacy. You will not find that in any group all of the people are the same. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes that distinction. But that distinction was lost to us. Let it not be lost tomorrow. And in fact, starting with this khutbah, right after this khutbah, I want you to sign a card that we're preparing to hand over to the city shul people tomorrow. They stood by us after the Quebec shooting. We're going to stand by them tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to deliver a card with your handwritten notes telling them how good you feel about them. Say something positive. It's not about our misunderstandings. We're going to leave that aside. If somebody among the neighbors pass away, we're going to go to the neighbors. We're going to sympathize with them. Some family member passes away. You're going to go to the house of that family member. You're going to sympathize with them. You're not going to bring up old quarrels and differences. That's not the time to fight. That is the time to say, we know you're grieving. We share in your sorrow. If you're in fear, we are here to help you. If you need protection, we are here to protect you. Nobody can harm you in my presence because I am a Muslim. I am like Wa'il Wahba, who returned that coat to the rightful owner, not for any reward, but because he is a Muslim. And the believer is the one who says, إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ. We only fed you seeking the face of Allah. لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. We do not desire from you any reward or even any thanks. We do it purely because we are Muslims. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to do just that. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Brothers, please move in as far as you can. Please get up, brother. Get up. Please get up. Form your lines and make more space. Some brothers are there. Now we're more concerned about the problem of somebody coming in and shooting, right? We don't want the brothers near the door. Let us give them some space. And if anybody comes in, we can see him. We can alert the crowd very quickly. We can take him down. Please, move, brothers. Fill up the space. Stand up. So why isn't everybody standing up? Stand up, make your lines, fill up all the spaces. Let the brothers have a chance to come in, please. Very quickly. Do it quickly so I can get started. All the way to the back, towards the clock. See the big clock there? Go all the way towards the end. In fact, now you have more of a reason to go in because now a synagogue has been attacked. You don't know if the next thing will be that some crazy person will come attack the next mosque. Every one of these attacks gives more courage to somebody who was thinking about it and he didn't think it was possible to do it. But now he sees that it's possible to do it. So don't take any chances and be security conscious. Go all the way, brothers. All the way. I still see space there. Brothers, move. You have to obey your leader. If your leader is saying do this, do it. Do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very quickly, brothers. Please sit down now, brothers. Shukran. And of course, do this in the future, like without my saying it. Make that your way of operating. Fill up that end first, even for your own safety. If you're there far away, somebody comes in shooting, they will get to you last. But okay. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. I'm standing, so I'm an open target. And let me go into the next khutbah. Alhamdulillah, nahmadu wa nasta'inu wa nastaghfiruh wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu bihi ta'ala min shururi anfusina wa sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna sayyidina Muhammadan abdullahi wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وصلى الله تعالى على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والملائكة المقربين والخلفاء الراشدين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. ربنا لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة إلا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.